Hey guys, it's Brandon here, and on today's show, we're going to talk about President Trump's big, beautiful bill and what a beautiful bill it is for real estate investors in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, this bill, and I know you've seen him hard at work, he has been hard at work to ensure that we are getting the benefits that we need so that our economy runs smooth. I know people don't like to hear that, but I am very, very excited about how he's advancing real estate investors' agenda, and we're going to outline all of that in this video. Now, what we're talking about is tax break stability and clarity. We're talking about bonus depreciation for commercial real estate. We're talking about no changes to 1031 like-kind exchanges. We're talking about opportunity zones staying permanent, increased interest deduction and business expense limits, and even low-income housing tax credit expansion. Ultimately, guys, the bottom line is that you can invest in oceanfront condos or multifamily units with larger upfront deductions, tax-deferred exchanges, bonus credits via opportunity zones and affordable housing, better write-offs on interest and construction costs. And guys, what you got to know is success depends on choosing the right project, staying compliant, and seeking expert help with those opportunity zones and those low-income housing tax credit strategies. We're going to break down all of it in this video. This is the one resource that you need to watch to stay current on how to invest in 2025 for the next 5 to 10 years. Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. It takes you only a second. It would mean a lot to me. Guys, I will reply personally to as many comments as you guys leave. If you've got questions, ask away. I will do my best to get those answers for you. Now, I don't want to hold us up. Let's get into the video now. You'd like to invest in commercial real estate. I'd like to show you how these properties make profit and break down all their expenses so you understand how they operate, how they appreciate over time, and how this will impact your taxes. I'd also like to let you know the property's cap rate and how it compares with similar properties in the market, how the location best services its users, and the potential for future growth. I'd like to fill you in on the historical and future occupancy trends, as well as potential management structures affecting the investment. And we won't miss the investment's risk profile nor the best exit strategies. Yes, we'll cover the condition of the property, any value add potential and repositioning, but we'll also dive into special topics like customer base, market positioning, and marketing and booking strategies when it applies. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'll show you my top picks for the best commercial real estate deals that have generated the most annual profits, have the highest appreciation, and the best tax implications. So no matter if you're a first-time investor or a seasoned professional transitioning into the real estate game, or perhaps simply a casual investor looking to relocate to the beach to live, play, and invest so that the passive income can support you in your retirement years, whether you have 20% to pay down because you're financing or you're a cash buyer, if it's a commercial real estate investment that you're after, you'll be better because I'm aiming to give you a 10 times return on your time for watching my videos until the end. Now, if you don't know what the 2017 tax cuts are, you can refer to the other video that should be appearing on your screen right now. Click that link. We covered all of that in a previous video on President Trump's major tax cuts. Now, the bill permanently extends the 2017 tax cut rates and major deductions like bonus depreciation and Section 179 expensing. So let's get into bonus depreciation first, and then we're going to get into Section 179 expensing. Now, the real estate insight regarding tax break stability and clarity is going to be that you can deduct much of the property purchase cost immediately. It's a big one. Not over 27 to 39 years. That means faster tax write-offs, improved early cash flows, and clearer planning. Guys, if you can get major tax cuts on these properties by accelerating that depreciation immediately, obviously it's going to be super advantageous. And for high net worth individuals, you could possibly plan on speeding up your purchase and your sell, your hold period. Essentially, you'd buy a property, accelerate a lot of depreciation, sell it off after owning it for a year or two, and purchase another property and take advantage of this tax opportunity. Now, you need to clarify that with your CPA, of course. Now, really quick, for those of you that don't know what Section 179 is, or basically how it works, in a step-by-step fashion, number one, you choose a qualified property. Most tangible business assets qualify: machinery, office, furniture, software. You know, those are examples. For real estate, improvements like HVAC, roofs, fire alarms, security systems to non-residential properties qualify, not the building purchase itself. Now notice I said non-residential properties. What this means for you is you cannot write off improvements for oceanfront condos. That's a residential property. We're talking about commercial real estate like offices, industrial, retail, and yes, even hotels. And I know you're probably thinking, hold on, isn't a hotel a residential property? No. Technically, it is classified as a hospitality property and it falls under the commercial real estate property type. So improvements on commercial real estate can be written off, not on residential properties like oceanfront condos. Now, number two, you place it in service. You must start using it in your business no later than December 31st of the tax year. Now, you're going to expense up to the annual limit. For 2025, the maximum deduction is $1.25 million, with a phase out starting at property placed into service over $3.13 million. Number four, you're going to respect income limits. You can only deduct up to your active business income. Excesses can be carried forward though. Now, number five, you're going to be mindful of the recapture rules. If you stop using the asset in your business or you sell it, you'll need to add back some deductions as income. Now, why this matters for investors in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? Why do you care? Well, if you're renovating or upgrading a non-residential property like adding a new HVAC system or a roof, you can write off the entire cost immediately. If I go put a $40,000 roof, a $50,000 roof, a $100,000 roof on my commercial property, I'm going to write the whole thing off. Now, obviously, if you're a high net worth individual and you're a high income earner, that can prove to be very advantageous. Now, this upfront deduction boosts first year cash flow, freeing up money sooner for further investing. It's that snowball effect happening a lot faster. Now, it works alongside bonus depreciation and the MACRS for more flexible tax savings. And I know you're probably wondering, what in the world is the MACRS? That's the Modified Accelerated Cost Recovery System. It's the main IRS framework for depreciating a property in the United States. Now, we're going to break down, if I can say it this way, two different types of depreciation so you can better understand exactly what this tax cut does for us. Now, when you buy a Myrtle Beach oceanfront condo, according to the IRS, it has a useful life of 27.5 years. That means that you can depreciate it over a straight line basis 27.5 years. A commercial property, on the other hand, hotels, industrial properties, office properties, they have a useful life of 39 years. All that said, commercial properties, those components under Section 179 can be depreciated quicker, faster. Components like the HVAC system, the security system, the roof, those qualify for accelerated depreciation under Section 179. Now, here's our summary. What it does: it lets you deduct the full cost of eligible improvements in the same tax year. The benefits: it reduces your tax bill much faster. It improves your cash flow so you can reinvest sooner. Who it fits best: entrepreneurs and small businesses renovating non-residential real estate, commercial properties, office spaces, industrial property, hotels. You got it. Quick example, if you spend $200,000 on a new HVAC and roofing, you claim that $200,000 deduction in the same year instead of writing it off over 39 years, taking that every single equal reduction based on depreciation that you're writing off every single year, straight line. Now, that means more immediate tax savings and more money in your pocket to spend or reinvest. Bottom line, Section 179 turns renovation cost into powerful upfront deductions, especially useful if you're upgrading commercial properties. Again, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that's where I want you investing. 3, no changes to 1031 like-kind exchanges. Now, the popular 1031 exchange, which is deferred capital gains on sold investment properties, remains intact. Yes. Now, I think it's huge. Obviously, 1031s, if you don't know, allow you to defer paying taxes on capital gains. And there's some rules in place where you can purchase a property up to 200% more of the subject property's value. So it allows you to essentially utilize that snowball effect for building wealth. Let's say you bought a $200,000 property. It appreciates over 5 years that you own it. You sell it for $600,000. You've got $400,000 in capital gains. Well, you can defer paying taxes on that so long as you purchase another property inside the 1031 and follow the specific rules. If you need a 1031 facilitator, I have one that I refer out to my clients. I'll put you in contact with them, 843-360-1737. But that $400,000 that you made in capital gains, guess what? You're not paying taxes on it if you purchase it in the 1031. And you can purchase another property up to 200% or 3 properties up to 200% of that subject property's value. And anyways, if you have questions on 1031, get in contact with me. Send me an email, shoot me a text message. I'll be more than happy to help. Now, number 4, let's dive into opportunity zones stay permanent. The bill makes opportunity zone provisions permanent, offering up to 10 years tax-free gains, but adds a 5-year deferral for initial gains or new rural incentives. Now, our real estate insight here is if you choose a qualified opportunity zone property, maybe a multifamily building near Myrtle Beach's redevelopment areas, you can enjoy significant tax savings, including no long-term capital gains tax. All right, so let's get a little more friendly with the 5-year deferral for initial gains, that rolling 5-year deferral. Let's dive into it. Before, under the original 2017 Opportunity Zone rules, gains deferred by investing in a qualified opportunity fund, a QOF, Qualified Opportunity Fund, were recognized by December 31st, 2026, no matter when you invested. After the bill, for the investments from January 1, 2027 onward, you can now defer the original capital gain for exactly 5 years from the date of your investment. No hard deadline like 2026. That means that if you invest on March 1st, 2027, you recognize the gain by March 1st, 2032. Now, number 2, there's a 10% basis step up at year 5. If you hold the investment for at least 5 years, the IRS lets you increase your tax basis by 10% of the deferred gain. Example, if you deferred $1 million after 5 years, your basis goes up by $100,000. Only $900,000 is taxable when the deferral ends. Number 3, now new rural incentives with QROFs, Qualified Rural Opportunity Funds. Now, for investments in those rural opportunity zone properties, there are even juicier perks, guys. 30% basis step up after 5 years. Triple the standard benefit. Lower substantial improvement requirements. Typically, you must double the property's value at 100% via renovation or construction. Now, for rural opportunity zone investments, you only need to boost it by 50%, making it much easier and cheaper to qualify. Now, what this means for you as a first-time investor in Myrtle Beach. Well, if you invest in 2027 or later, your gain deferral clock runs for 5 years from your investment date, no longer bound to 2026. After 5 years, you get a 10% step up, meaning you pay tax on less of your initial gain. But if your project is rural, you get a 30% step up. Conway, Loris, here we come. But if your project is rural, you get a 30% step up. You pay tax on only 70% of what you initially deferred at the 5-year mark. And there's an easier qualification for rural projects because they only need the 50% improvement rule, not the 100%. Now, let's walk through an example step by step so we can break this down. You've got a $500,000 capital gain and invested into a Myrtle Beach Opportunity Zone project in 2027. You hold it for 5 years until 2032. If it's a standard Opportunity Zone investment, the basis increases by 10%. It's a $50,000 benefit, taxed on only $450,000 of the deferred gain. If it's a rural Opportunity Zone investment, a QROF, a Qualified Rural Opportunity Fund, the basis increases by 30%. That's a $150,000 benefit. You're taxed on $350,000 instead, a $100,000 extra tax savings. Now, renovation costs to qualify only need to hit the 50% improvement, not the 100% like the standard Opportunity Zone investment. Bottom line, guys, the bill replaces a hard 2026 deadline with a rolling 5-year deferral starting in 2027. It tiers benefits. You got a 10% step up standard. You got a 30% step up for rural opportunity zones. It's easier to qualify for the rural projects with a 50% improvement rule. This means more flexibility, clearer timelines, and stronger rewards, especially for rural property rehab investments. And you have to get a hold of me because they are building in Conway and in Loris and all of these outlying areas that are 30 minutes to 45 minutes away from the beach. These areas are exploding in our market. So if you're interested in making a solid commercial investment, get in contact with me and let me help you walk through taking advantage of some of these excellent tax consequences or tax benefits that are unfolding in this big, beautiful bill. Now, Myrtle Beach, Loris, Aner, the outlying areas at the beach are loaded in opportunity zones. Yes, we have opportunity zones. That means the higher tax benefit. Now, we're also loaded with older commercial properties that need to be rehabbed. What this means for high net worth individuals is that if you partner with a solid and professional agent like myself, I can help you buy value add commercial properties. I can put your hands on the best deals, those off market commercial properties that you need in order to take advantage of the tax benefits from the big, beautiful bill. So you get in contact with me. You say, hey, Brandon, where are those value add off market deals that I can utilize in order to get tax write-offs? I'm going to send over the deals to you, show you the properties, arrange an off-market deal for you, and get that property sold so that you can start taking advantage of the tax benefit. Now, I know someone that bought an office building for $1.5 million off-market. They put some money into it, they rehabbed it, they remodeled it. It's now worth over $3 million. Here's the point. They didn't have all these great tax advantages. They weren't able to accelerate and write off 100% of the improvements that they did to the property. You can, now that this big, beautiful bill is passed. Additionally, I want to put this into context for you. You are a professional. You are a doctor. You are a dentist. You are a lawyer. You are a small business owner. You've had an exceptionally good year. You're going to get hit with a ton of taxes if you don't have the necessary tax write-offs that you need. It's that simple and that easy. You pick up the phone, you get in contact with me, I put your hands on value-added commercial properties, properties that need a little bit of TLC. They need you to come in, do an interior remodel, put a new roof in, a new HVAC system. You get 100% of the tax write-offs. Mind you, I've got the network here. I've got the contractors, the handyman. I've got all the people that you need to do this and can help you do it. It's that simple and that easy. You sit back. If you don't have a CPA, which you probably do, I'll introduce you to mine. And the point is, you're going to collect the tax write-offs and the benefits of all of that investment into that commercial property. Now, it gets even better because ultimately, when you do that value add, just like my friend who bought a $1.5 million building, put a few $100,000 into it, and suddenly it's worth $3 million, your commercial investment is going to be the same way. You're going to do the right value add improvements to it. Obviously, it's going to increase the value. And what are we going to do next? We're going to do a cash out refinance on that property, especially when interest rates lower in the next year or two. We're going to pull that equity out of the property, 75% of that loan to value. They're going to send somebody out. They're going to appraise the property. You bought it at $1 million. You put a few $100,000 into it. Suddenly it's worth $2.53 million. Guess what? You're going to pull that cash right out of it, and you're set up perfectly to do your second commercial investment. Now, partnering with a solid and professional agent is going to help get you there, and that's what I'd like to do for you. Pick up the phone and give me a call. It's 843-360-1737. Number 5, increased interest deduction and business expense limits. Now, the law relaxes limits on business interest deductions and boosts rules for new commercial construction expensing. The real estate insight here is if you borrow to finance development or renovations, you can deduct more interest, reducing your taxable income. Woo, that sounds good. Now, when you borrow to pay for development or a renovation, like upgrading a commercial property, maybe you're rehabbing it, you're doing interior upgrades on it, whatever, obviously there's going to be interest on that loan. Now, that interest is considered business interest expense, which is commonly tax deductible, reducing your taxable income and boosting your cash flow. Now, of course, there are limits on interest deductions. Under IRS Section 163J, interest deductions were limited to 30% of your adjusted taxable income, your ATI, plus business interest income and floor plan financing. Now, what changed with the One Big Beautiful Bill? All right, guys, well, starting in tax years after December 31st, 2024, the One Big Beautiful Bill makes the calculation a lot more generous by letting you compute the adjusted taxable income based on earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Adding back depreciation and amortization, not just earnings before interest and taxes. This generally increases your adjusted taxable income and allows you to deduct more interest in a given year. Number 6, low income housing tax credit expansion. Now, the bill greatly expands the low income housing tax credit, aiming to support $1 million in $1 million plus in affordable units by 2035. The real estate insight here is that investing in mixed income or affordable multifamily properties in Myrtle Beach may make you eligible for credits, boosting after-tax yield. All right, now here's what the Big Beautiful Bill does for the low-income housing tax credit expansion. The bill permanently increases the state low-income housing tax credit allocation by 12% starting in 2026, allowing states to award more 9% credits each year. Now, it lowers the 50% private activity bond test to only 25%. Making more projects eligible for a low-income housing tax credit when at least 25% of the land plus the building is financed by private activity bonds instead of 50%. Essentially, it's going to open up between 1.1 to 1.2 affordable rentals between 2026 and 2035. Now, I want to get into what's super important to me and what you need to know about Myrtle Beach multifamily investing when it comes to the low-income housing tax credit. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I recently examined the market for multifamily property. It was located, I would say, pretty much in the high tourist area in our market. Now, it's over on 6th Avenue, if I'm going to be a little bit more specific. You got to check out the video. Essentially, I uncovered the fact that there is a huge amount of demand for multifamily properties in the low-end segment of the market. Essentially, they've built higher-end multifamily properties with rents above $1,750. Now, ultimately, what this means for you is if you want to take advantage of all the big, beautiful tax bill credits and everything that's been opened up by President Trump, our market is a phenomenal place to do that. Essentially, the multifamily properties in the low end, there's a demand to the tune of as much as 539 units that are not being serviced currently. If you want to check that video out, please see the link on your screen right now. Watch that video or stay tuned until the end of the video and I'll put that video to populate on your screen so you can just click it and watch it. The point is, there is a massive amount of demand. It was over $9 million a year worth of low-end income in the trade area that I examined that was underserved. They had all this surplus of higher renting multifamily properties, but they didn't have enough in the low-end segment. So the point is, Myrtle Beach has a market with plenty of demand. So all you developers or all you investors who want to do a project and take advantage of all of those tax write-offs, perhaps you want to buy older hotels or motels and convert them into multifamily properties to serve the unmet demand that's in our market, pick up the phone and give me a call. It's 843-360-1737. Let's walk through how this is going to benefit a first-time investor in the Myrtle Beach market. You've got upfront deductions, why it matters to you. You can accelerate depreciation and bonus deductions, which is going to equal stronger cash flow early on in your investment, which means you might hold the property for less time because of the tax consequences that you can take advantage of now. You might buy the property, hold it for 2-3 years, sell it off because it's more advantageous for you to go after the tax benefits than it is for you to go after the appreciation. This could be an advanced tax strategy for you. Now, obviously, our properties appreciate great. Our market is posed to explode. And you might want to have properties that you obviously invest in for the appreciation, for sure. But you also now might want to have properties that you invest in for the tax benefits, especially if you're a high earner, a high income earner, hands down. So maybe you get with your financial advisor, maybe you call me, 843-360-1737, and you kind of walk through what kind of investments you need to be making and when so you can take advantage of these tax benefits. Now, 1031 exchanges. You're going to reinvest gains into local multifamily properties without capital gains taxes. If you started in oceanfront condos, you can then parlay that into multifamily properties, which if you're doing the right investments, maybe even in opportunity zones in Myrtle Beach, can be extremely, extremely advantageous for you. So maybe you started in oceanfront condos, you've built up a lot of equity, you bought up, it appreciated $300,000, $400,000, you've made some good money, now you can afford to play the game at a higher level. You start looking at $1 million multifamily properties, or you start looking at, anyways, the point is, and you start to grow that nest egg and you get into properties that can be more advantageous with a greater array of benefits for you, especially as your income increases. Now, opportunity zones, extra tax savings when investing in qualifying development areas in Myrtle Beach. It's that simple and that easy. For those of you with really big pockets, you want to take advantage of opportunity zone investing. For those of you that are near the end of your investing stint, maybe you've been an investor now for 10, 15, 20 years, and you're ready to start cashing out, get in contact with me for an advanced tax strategy utilizing opportunity zones, because there is a way to structure this thing and do this thing that would probably blow your mind. A secret I learned from a former CFO of a national level bank. And I would love to walk you through that secret. I'm not going to say it on camera, but you can call me or text me or email me. It's 843-360-1737. Interest write-offs. You're going to deduct more on loans that you use to rehab commercial properties. Affordable housing credits. This is our last one. Potentially even better returns by tapping into those those low-income housing tax credits. That's the LIHTC. Let's walk through an example that helps the investor take full advantage of the big, beautiful bill while investing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Number one, you buy the property in a Myrtle Beach opportunity zone. And yes, there are Myrtle Beach opportunity zones that have oceanfront condos. For example, opportunity zone census tracts 506 and 507. Some oceanfront condo resort options in these opportunity zones are Ocean Forest Plaza, Regency Towers, Water's Edge, or Resort. Those are just a few I'm naming. Now, I'm not saying invest in those places. I am saying get in contact with me so we can do a more in-depth analysis of what your situation looks like and make sure that you're making a savvy investment. But let's get back to our example. Now, here's the deal. You're going to hold the property for 10 years to avoid having to pay capital gains because you have no capital gains tax if you purchase an oceanfront condo in an opportunity zone and hold it for at least 10 years. You are not going to get paid. You are not going to have to pay taxes on capital gains if you hold the property at least 10 years. Now, for those of you that don't want to take advantage of the no tax on your appreciation, capital gains tax over that 10-year period, and possibly you only want to hold it for 5 years or 7 years, still get some of those tax advantages, you can use a 1031 like-kind exchange. And essentially, you're going to take that 1031 and you're going to move that value-added multifamily asset into the 1031 in exchange for that oceanfront condo. Now, you're going to buy a value-add multifamily property. In other words, it needs some TLC. You're going to do this because you can buy it cheaper and because you can take advantage of the bonus depreciation when you rehab it. Which for high income earners is extremely advantageous. Now, you'll get that bonus 100% depreciation for rehabbing that property. You're going to buy, obviously, a more expensive property. That multifamily property is going to be more expensive. And by utilizing this strategy, you are building it's that snowball effect of wealth building, growing larger and larger at each phase of the investment. So we started out, let's just say, with a $500,000 condo. Let's say, let me do some quick math for you. Let's say that it appreciated $500,000. Let's say that it appreciated $400,000 over a 10-year period. Well, now you can buy a property up to 200% of that subject property's value. So now you're buying a very nice a much more expensive multifamily property with a lot more units, and you're snowballing that investment and growing it little by little at each phase of the investment. Of course, taking full advantage of the one big beautiful bill, the tax consequences or tax advantages of it at every step along the way. And then finally, if you were to buy that multifamily property in a low income housing tax credit area, you can also take full advantage of that. So guys, we have just shown you how to take full advantage of the one big beautiful bill right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're going to buy an oceanfront condo in an opportunity zone. We're going to hold it for 10 years so we don't have to pay any capital gains tax on our appreciation. We're going to, if we're not going to hold it for 10 years, we're going to simply transfer it into a 1031 like-kind exchange and purchase a multifamily property that is up to 200% more than the value of the subject property that we sold, that oceanfront condo. Then we're going to rehab that value add multifamily property to take full advantage of the 100% bonus depreciation. And we're also going to make sure that when we buy that multifamily property, we can buy it in a low-income housing tax credit area. So that way we get full advantage of all of the tax benefits when investing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And guys, that pretty much sums up President Trump's one big beautiful bill for real estate investors investing in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina market. Now, if you've enjoyed this video and it has proved advantageous for you, you've gotten any value out of it whatsoever, please share it on your social media. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button. It takes you no time at all to hit the like and subscribe button, but it does a lot for me. If you're interested in working with a solid and professional agent that's going to help you develop solid investing strategies, help you scale a portfolio, help you beyond just the transaction itself, but really being your partner in the deal, so that way you can build serious wealth, then pick up the phone and give me a call. It's 843-360-1737.